Doctor, we've been getting a little bit more optimistic with some of the numbers and the vaccine rollout, and some of recent articles we've seen that maybe more people have actually had the virus than we were able to measure. So maybe the herd immunity is higher than we think. You add the vaccine is, and maybe we're making progress. Your point is keep wearing a good mask. Don't go and congregate with a bunch of people. Take the vaccine and just basically don't let your guard down because we're making progress, but we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, simply put, that's kind of what you're saying, is it not?
You read it very well, and you gave a great summary. You get an A. Yeah, part of the problem is as the news gets good and the graph has the number of cases, number of hospitalizations coming down, we've already begun to let our guard out, permitting indoor dining, permitting larger groups to gather. That's very worrisome. And I would add one more element that makes, I think, lots of epidemiologists worried, and that's these new variants, whether the UK variant B117 or the South African variant or P1 from Brazil. We know they're here in the United States, and we're worried that they could spread. They're both more transmissible and, at least in some cases, more deadly. And so by opening up too quickly, we could actually spike another surge, which is very worrisome.
Well, Zeke, if you're at, let's say you're at 25% occupancy in a restaurant, do you have a problem with that? Because once again, we'd like the restaurants to be around next year at some point and not all be gone. Should every teacher be vaccinated before schools reopen? We're once again looking at the negative consequences for remaining too closed, and what happens if it is possible to start doing things, to start loosening up a little. You see, again, we got the same problem again. If we do what you're saying, we won't do anything, and schools stay closed, businesses go out of business. There's got to be a constantly trying to walk a line, and we could be too conservative or too liberal with what we're talking about.
Let me be very, very clear. I have been a big advocate for opening schools ever since last summer. We can do that well. We have good data on doing it well. You also have good data from doing it poorly. The CDC reported on a Georgia situation where they did it poorly. But there's plenty of good cases where you can do it well. You can mask people. You can vaccinate teachers and staff. You can do hand hygiene, separate people. I think that's a place where we should move forward. And I've been strong advocate of that, and I think that's very doable. It's a very different thing about restaurants. And look, I love restaurants. I'm big into food, and I've been a big advocate for better eating in this country. I think it's really, really important to have restaurants in this country. They're big employers. But I also know that, people go to restaurants. You can see them in the street. They sit down. They take their mask off even when they're ordering. They take their mask off when they're talking. That is not a good item. And whether we open restaurants or not depends upon many, many things. How often, how safe are the staff? Do they have good ventilation systems and other things? We're coming to spring and summer. We have to hold on a little bit longer, and then it's going to be much easier because we'll spend more time outside and we'll have more people vaccinated. So we have to do things in a measured way. And I agree with you, open up the economy. And the place I would start is schools, where we have an overwhelming amount of data. You can do it safely.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.